Are we good? Oh, we're good.
All right.
Okay, great. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. All right, welcome to the commission meeting for Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. Let's have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect, thank you. I guess we'll do roll call.
Okay. Commissioner Flynn?
Present.
Commissioner Silverman? Here. Commissioner Swager Wilson?
Here.
President Grella?
Here.
And Commissioner Siegler, I believe, is virtual.
Yes, I'm here.
Here it is, virtual.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so let's go into summary of discussion topics for System Manager McMeans, please.
Okay, we'll do that first. So prior to tonight's meeting, the commission met in discussion session and heard presentations on an update from the municipal engineer on bids received for a bunch of projects at the Racket Center. So pickleball courts, lighting and fencing, sidewalks on Woodland Drive, Meadowcroft Park improvements, that's phase 3 of that project, municipal building HVAC work, public safety center, boiler and facade work, and repairs at the south garage. Additionally, the municipal engineer provided updates on storm sewer and sanitary sewer projects with some additional discussion about some work done on ice spots. Also somewhat of an impromptu presentation by our two chiefs, Chief Haberman and Chief Christoffel, with some discussions, both following up on the storm event that happened and some information from Chief Haberman on some recent frauds that are happening. So stay tuned for more information on those topics as well. As far as announcements, prior to tonight's meeting, the commission met in executive session to receive legal advice on a number of matters. The commission also conducted the semi-annual meeting of the Industrial Development Authority following the discussion session. The next meeting of the commission will be held on May 27th, and that meeting will begin at 8 p.m. in this room. The public can participate either in person or virtually over Zoom. You can click the link on the agenda on the municipal website. Pre-registration is not necessary for meeting attendance, either in person or virtually. If you wish to make public comment while attending virtually, you can just use the raise hand function on Zoom.
Perfect, thank you. Commissioner Siegler has some community highlights, and then after that, Chief Haberman will mention something briefly related to public safety that Ian alluded to just a few moments ago. So,
Thank you, Mr. President. As you're aware, 2 weeks ago today, our area was hit hard by a major spring storm that took out hundreds of trees and knocked out power for thousands of Mount Lebanon residents. I would like to recognize Mount Lebanon's Police Department, Fire Department, Public Works Department, and Public Information Office for their extraordinary efforts on behalf of our residents. Police and fire responded to 147 calls during the initial storm onslaught and dozens more afterwards. Volunteer firefighters dropped everything and donated 182 hours during a 7-hour period. Our Public Information Office created a special webpage, mountlebanon.org/storm notes, on 9 social media channels through Lebo alerts and on the phone. Our administrative assistants helped hundreds of residents on the phone. Thank you to all our municipal staff and volunteers for your assistance. And if for some reason you haven't already signed up, please enroll to receive Lebo alerts at mylebo.mountlebanon.org for important real-time safety information. Mount Lebanon will honor those who gave all for their country at our Memorial Day ceremony at 8:30 a.m. on Monday, May 26th at the Veterans Memorial outside the Rec Center. This year's keynote speaker is United States Navy pilot Jim McStay. Other special guests include host Blaise Loratanda, the Mount Lebanon High School Marching Band, and our Police Department Honor Guard. Thanks to our Public Information Office for organizing this event. Immediately after this ceremony, we'll head to Brookline for the South Hills Memorial Day Parade featuring Grand Marshal Rocky Bleier. The parade travels through Dormont and ends at the Mount Lebanon Cemetery. We would like to recognize that May is both Jewish American Heritage Month and Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. To celebrate, the Mount Lebanon Public Library has a great book list up to help us all learn more about one another. To our residents of those heritages, you are all welcomed and wanted here. Finally, the Mount Lebanon Street Reconstruction and Resurfacing Program will begin shortly. For a dynamically updated schedule and an interactive map, go to mountlebanon.org/road construction. Residents on affected streets have already received written notice and will receive several more reminders. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Commission President, for the opportunity to address the commission as well as the community with some recent events that we're dealing with at the Public Safety Building regarding some victims of fraud and mail fraud. What we want to do is alert the public, and we're going to be doing this through a multi-pronged public relations campaign with the Public Information Office. But what we want to do is get ahead of this and try to, and let people know that, you know, there has been a number of mail compromises. And right now, that includes at the outdoor, potentially at the outdoor locations of the Castle Shannon and Cedarhurst mailboxes that are out there, and they're street-facing ones. So really what we're advocating is that people do what they can to secure their letters and their bills by taking those items and physically taking them to the mailbox, or I'm sorry, the post office. If they can, and really, or utilizing some of the online banking tools that are available to send bills. We're trying to minimize the points of compromise, and what we're finding is these individuals are targeting not only our community and others by taking mail and taking checks and either stealing identities or attempting to cash those checks acting as those individuals. So it is a significant problem regionally. We're working with our state, local, and federal partners to address this issue. But in the meantime, what we want to do is get the word out and make sure people are aware that really, you know, the mail as we know it at times can be compromised, and it in fact has had that. So we've had a number of these compromises, and again, it's resulted in ID theft and or individuals taking checks and really committing fraud by stealing money from their accounts. So what we want to do is try and prevent that. And again, you've heard it recently from our federal partners at the FBI that put out on the targeting elder scams and of these things such as the toll booth scams and other things that are highly publicized. But we really want to alert people to know that, again, it's sort of reverting back to the basics of theft of mail and really exploiting that low-hanging fruit, if you will, for these criminals and these people who are targeting our community. So really be aware of that and do your part, and anything you can do to minimize those compromise points really will protect you and help to save your information.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, we have Representative Dan Miller here to speak about our friend John Delano.
Yes, hello and good evening, and thank you for giving me a couple minutes of your time and to be here with everybody as well. I appreciate it, and thank you to our police chief for spreading the word about that. We'll look to hopefully magnify your alert and your information for residents. Yes, look, as noted, I'm here to just share some words in a citation about one of Mount Lebanon's own and favored sons in so many ways. I'm sure I'm going to do disservice to this, but I am here to talk about John Delano. Who's not bad, not bad. You know, I was talking to my son, he's like, no, it's not good. But we'll do the best we can. Look, I appreciate that. You know, look, the Delano family, of course, needs no introduction to those who know Mount Lebanon. John carries on the tradition very much that was passed down to him by his mother and others. For how to help be part of a community, make something special here in the South Hills, and then find success throughout his career and the way that he's helped raise issues and communicate with the public about things that mattered. So he's very much has become sort of iconic in so many ways for Allegheny County. When I talk to my friends out east and we talk about news and different things, they sure enough know John Delano. So it is something to which I'm very proud to say that he represents our community very well. John, of course, is no stranger to these types of things given his lengthy career. I do want to take a moment, and seldom do I read these, but I do want to highlight a little bit in here. This is a citation that I was able to secure from the House of Representatives. I found some of the information interesting. John is a graduate of Haverford College and the University of Pennsylvania Law School. He began his career in 1977 as a chief, by the way, 77. Okay. He's the Chief of Staff for United States Representative Doug Walgren, a position he held for 14 years. He then, of course, became political analyst for KDKA TV. John continued in his position where he joined the station full-time in 2001 and accepted the additional role of Money and Politics editor. He also produced Sunday's Business Page segment for the Weekend News and served as co-host of the KDPG Sunday edition. And in 2024, he began hosting Inside PA Politics. Mr. Delano, you're right, reported from the presidential conventions in '96, which I didn't realize how far back you'd actually started doing that. Yeah. 96, 2000, 2004, 2016, and throughout his career. He interviewed many important political figures. In addition to his role as reporter, he taught graduate students for 25 years. I didn't realize it was that long as well, so congratulations on that service, and recently retired as adjunct professor from Carnegie Mellon. Active in his community, John volunteers with several organizations, including his local church, and he moderates and facilitates seminars, candidate debates, and programs, and speaks on governmental and political issues to civic, business, and labor groups. To his credit, he is the recipient of several awards, including the Clarity Award from the Pennsylvania Bar Association, 2 Golden Quill Awards, and the Edward R. Murrow Award for the best hard news story in Pennsylvania. When was that? Okay, it happened. We're pretty sure it happened. We'll get a reporter on it. We'll find out. TSA.
Began to strip search.
Okay. All right. I'm glad I brought that up.
You tell me the earth.
Best, and this is the best hard news story, I apologize, in Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey. Throughout his career, John demonstrated remarkable knowledge, ability, and integrity in carrying out his many responsibilities, thus earning the respect and gratitude of all those who receive the benefit of his tireless devotion to duty. Look, I reference all that because it does a very poor job of pulling together a lengthy career of service in the public arena. If someone like many of us who spent some time in it, it is a challenging field to be in, no matter what role you take. It is a lot to put yourself out there in the public arena. In some ways, during John's tenure, it has not become easier to be an active figure, let alone a journalist, in a field that has continued to have its concerns and weight upon it. But I will tell you, though, of course, I think most of us know that we've only been better served when we have active journalists, when we have people who are willing to do the type of work that John did. We don't need less John Delanos, we need more. That is the reality, not just for journalism, but for our community and our country. I'm a bit biased because a lot of John's work is spent in some of the things that do relate to me, as we're both parishioners of the same church. But I will tell you that I've been in numerous public forums where John is the reason why people come. And John is the reason why people look for that debate and people know there's going to be some questions of substance there. He's been able to do it in countless arenas. He's been able to do it with bipartisanship and a constant effort to pull people together in a civic way that, again, is all too atypical in today's times. So from both as a resident of Mount Lebanon, as a public official for many years with it, and just as a friend, John, thank you for everything that you've done in our community. You represent Mount Lebanon so well. We look forward to all this additional work I know you're going to do in your retirement, but thank you very much for bringing us together. John, please.
Oh, he's going to give him.
I have yeah. You want me to come down? I'll come down.
Do you guys want this behind you?
All right. Everybody's there. Everybody's there too. All right, smile. Come on. All right, here we go. Video?
I know, I want my podcast for you guys.
I know.
This is a contest of who's known John the longest. But in 1983, John was my boss. I was an intern in Doug Walgren's office, working for John. So
That does beat me.
Steve, that was good. That was good.
Making me feel old, Steve.
Right?
I have had to give out a few proclamations where I followed Dan Miller, which is nearly an impossible task, but I will read this entire proclamation. We have a fancy one somewhere, but we'll get it to you soon because it's not here, but I'll read it. We'll go through it. Between Dan's and this, we'll have everything like a Wikipedia page would have about you. Go through the history and all that stuff. All right, so accommodation journalist and lifelong community volunteer John Delano. There's a lot of whereases here. Whereas resident volunteer lawyer and active community member John Delano retired in December 2024. And whereas Mr. Delano graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in History from Haverford College, earned his law degree at the University of Pennsylvania, and started his career as a litigator, later moving to become Chief of Staff for U.S. Congressman Doug Walgren for 14 years. And whereas Mr. Delano started doing political analysis for KDKA-TV in 1994, and became full-time Money and Politics editor in 2001. During his 30 years covering politics, government, and money for KDKA-TV, he regularly informed the electorate by interviewing every recent presidential candidate, including at the White House, covering national conventions, moderating debates, asking difficult questions on behalf of all viewers, which is how I came to watch and know who you were. Mr. Delano also rigorously covered financial issues, hosted KDKA's Sunday Business Page and Money Minute programs. His other professional pursuits included a column in the Pittsburgh Business Times and serving as adjunct professor of politics and public policy at Carnegie Mellon University. Mr. Delano remains active in Mount Lebanon community, volunteering often at St. Paul's Episcopal Church and serving on the boards of both the Dennis Theater Foundation and the Historical Society of Mount Lebanon, among other organizations. Also how we came to become friends through the Historical and Dennis Theater. The city of Pittsburgh proclaimed March 18th, 2025 as John Delano Day. That I didn't know. John Delano Day. Whereas Mount Lebanon recognizes that Mr. Delano continues to work for the betterment of all Mount Lebanon, which is absolutely true. Now, therefore, Mount Lebanon Commission, by virtue of the authority vested in this entity by the Constitution of the laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, do hereby commend resident journalist and volunteer John Delano for his decades of service to the residents of Mount Lebanon. Thank you very much.
May I say a few words? Of course. Well, first, thank you, Mr. President. It's nice to address you that way, Craig. So, I have to say that this is a really unique honor to be recognized by your hometown. I've lived in Mount Lebanon since 1958, other than a stint in Washington, where I was still living and voting out of Mount Lebanon. And for me personally, to be recognized in this way is very moving, and I might break up here, you never know. You know, it's also good to be with friends. I've known some of these commissioners for more than a decade or two or three, apparently. And Ian was a student of mine at Carnegie Mellon at the Heinz College and got his master's degree. I think I gave you a decent grade, as I recall. And your solicitor, it turns out, is the brother-in-law of a dear Mount Lebanon High School classmate of mine, who I've known for many, many years and was a friend of mine in high school as well, of course. And so I feel connected very much. I can't stand here, though, without thinking of my mother, Dr. June S. Delano. Many of you knew my mother. She passed away on Mother's Day 11 years ago. And so we think of her at this time of year. She was only the third woman elected to the Mount Lebanon Commission and the first Democratic woman elected in Mount Lebanon's history. And we've only had a few women since when you look at it compared to the number of men. And I'm looking, of course, at our wonderful Commissioner Ann Swager-Wilson, who is the only woman, obviously, on this panel. When my mother was on, there was a short period of time in which she was commissioner, along with Carolyn Byam and Colleen Vano. a majority were 3 women. And now I had nothing to do, Carolyn's a Republican, Colleen and June were Democrats. But partisan stuff ought not to really occur at the commission level. My mother wasn't concerned at all about the party stuff, but she did say that Mount Lebanon's best years were when 3 women were in charge. I don't know, Ed, if you'll say that, but I won't put you on the spot.
But your mother was the one who really pushed accessibility. And I thought that was quite
That
stunning.
was one of her many, many issues. She was she was the co-founder of, well, frankly, she was involved with the library.
Yes.
Is Robin here? There she is. Oh, right in front there. She was one of the library when we moved to Mount Lebanon in 1958 was here, was in this building.
Sure.
And so a new building had to be constructed, and there's a whole lot of work that was done. She was deeply into education because her background was early childhood development, which was a bit of a problem for my wonderful wife, Jane, who's with us, because my mother thought she knew more about child raising than any daughters-in-law. But the funny thing there is that Jane and June, the names got confused all the time, so that was wonderful. That helped Jane a good deal. You know, you mentioned, Craig, about John Delano Day. That particular Tuesday, I took out the garbage just like I do every Tuesday. Nothing different there. What can you say about Dan Miller? I mean, you're such an awesome guy, and it's been wonderful to be a friend of yours for so many years, and then to have us represent us in the State House. You know, I have a rule. I think I was telling Craig about this, that I know a lot of elected officials. Obviously, in my job over 30 years, I've had the great honor of interviewing Barack Obama 8 times, and you know, you name it, I've had multiple interviews. And I have cell phones for a lot of these people. I judge elected officials not simply on their policy levels or their votes or things like that, or their partisanship. I judge on whether they return the phone calls of John Delano. Dan Miller never fails. He's got a 100% record, and I've always appreciated that in you. And I thank you very much for this printed, absolutely printed, unlike Mount Lebanon. Sorry about that, Craig. So thank you, Dan, very much for this. I guess I could say so much about my experience over the last 30 years on TV. It's been a wonderful opportunity for me. I felt from the day one that my obligation was to do really truthful and fair journalism and to report things as they were happening and not to allow my own personal views to get in the way of my interviews. And that's why I was the only journalist in Pittsburgh, TV journalist, who interviewed both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, because both of those campaigns knew that I wasn't going to mistreat them and that I was going to try to fairly reflect their views to the audience, which is really the job of a journalist. Now, when you're an analyst, things are a little different. And I'm going to try to, I may do some analysis for KDK. They're talking to me about coming in and talking about who won the mayor's primary and why did they win. That's a little different. But in my day job, which was for many years, was simply, was to interview candidates and elected officials. I've always tried very hard to be honest and help to reflect their points of view. And I think that's why I survived for 30 years. It is, as I think Dan mentioned, it is a very challenging job to be a journalist in this day and age. But it's even more challenging to be an elected official. And so I commend all of you, as well as the staff and those who work for Mount Lebanon, the chiefs. We appreciate the public service. I always, whenever I see a fire, I was going to say fireman. I guess we don't say that. Do we say fire personnel or something? Firefighters. Whenever I see a firefighter or a police officer, I always say thank you for your service, because we owe it to these men and women who put their lives on the line in so many different ways. And even the volunteer firefighters like Dan Miller. Even. So, but from my perspective, I thank you very much for this recognition. and I thank you for your service, because I know it's not easy. Whether you're zooming in, like Jeff's zooming in today, or the four of you commissioners here, I know how much time and effort, because I remember those days when my mother was commissioner, and those phone calls would ring. And by the way, in those days, there was no cell phone.
Right.
So everybody in the family was subjected to the ring. And for some reason, most of the calls seemed to come late at night. And I know my father put up with it for 8 years. I escaped the house. So thank you so much for recognizing me. I really do appreciate that. And I'm not going to disappear. I may be getting a little aged, but I'm going to be around. And I'm certainly going to be around the community. This is the most wonderful community in all of Pennsylvania. And anything that I can do to help make it even better than it already is, just call on me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You, John.
That's fine, that's fine. You have a police escort outside.
I might be tempted to talk, I'll stay.
Yeah, we'll move over to Junior Commissioner Abby Sahida.
Good evening.
Hello.
The school year is beginning to wind down, which means that tests are picking up. So this week is the last week of AP exams. If your student is taking any, please make sure they're at the school 30 minutes before the exam start time so we can begin on time. We're having some issues with that, so we want to make sure everyone's getting there on time. Additionally, we are having Keystone exams. So please make sure your student is at the school on time if they are taking biology, math, or English. And then for the fun stuff, we have the percussion ensemble is having their final concert of the year from Thursday to Saturday this week. And again, these shows sell out super fast. So please make sure you grab your tickets if you are looking to go. This is the last week to buy prom tickets. They're now $100 up from the $85, and the dance is only 2 weeks away, so make sure your student, if they are senior, has the ticket. A lot of the senior activities like prom, senior sunset, the last day of school, and the elementary school clap out are coming fast, and all of these dates and times for these events can be found on the school calendar. We added more and more, it seems, every year, so please make sure you're looking there just to make sure your senior isn't missing out on anything they'd like to do. Parents of juniors, senior year is almost here. Please have your student open their Common App account if they haven't already. You apply to almost every college under the sun under Common App. So if you're looking to apply to college, make sure you have that and you're starting to look at the essays so you can get your applications in on time. And then Mount Lebanon School District is back with the summer enrichment opportunities. These are open to students between 4th and 8th grade. And there's a ton of classes that I didn't know about, like model rocketry, cooking, babysitting, the police academy, theater, and even wizard school are available. Registration opens on May 19th. Lastly, second to last, the Model UN team is holding its second annual in-house competition. Any high school students interested can sign up on the Lebo Model UN Instagram page. Everything from AI to the space race will be covered. It will be held on May 2nd, 22nd, and 23rd after school. Finally, a special congratulations to all the seniors who are graduating. They've all been a vital member of our high school community, and we are so excited to see all the amazing things they do in the future. With this being my last commission meeting, I'd like to again thank the commission for this opportunity. It's truly been very rewarding, and I appreciate it very deeply. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, Abigail. Appreciate it. We do have a gift for you, which I'll give you in just a second. I just wanted to say it's been wonderful having you here. You've been a fantastic junior commissioner. Thank you. Good luck for the rest of the school year with tests. I know that can be sometimes a little bit stressful the last week or two left, but I'm sure you'll do very well. But let me grab this gift and give this to you. Here we go.
It's just a small token.
thank you again for everything. It's been great having you this year, and good luck. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, of course. Come on up here. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Citizens' comments.
Right. Just thinking back on most of her comments this year came after we had like, huge proclamations
I know,
and stuff.
I know.
Where Abigail had to wave off. Thank you.
Exactly.
Okay, Commissioner Swalker Wilson, item number.
Oops.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We have citizens' comments. We have a couple people here. Do we have anyone online, Nick?
Nobody online.
Nobody online. Okay, first one on the list, Colonel Hoon.
Saw you walk out the door. I wasn't sure if you had changed your mind. I saw you step out for a second, so I wasn't sure if you had changed your mind.
No. Bill Hoon, 456 Coolidge Avenue. We just crossed the 21-year point on our deer fantasy in Mount Lebanon. 21 years. That's almost an entire generation. The human generation is generally considered 25 years. So 21 years. What's changed here? Actually, nothing. When the deer fantasy was invented, it was an all-out slaughter. Kill every deer that can be found in this township. Now, we're not so obvious. We don't have a whole squad of gunners on one side of the hill firing down on a baited area where some deer are trying to get something to eat. So, we'd like to know where this is going. There are a lot of people who are very concerned. I mean, we really don't know how many people move out of this township because of this issue. We know it's quite a few. People whose homes were in a direct line of fire, they didn't appreciate that. They left. People who had dogs that they walked in certain areas. One woman that stumbled right into an active kill zone. Didn't stop shooting, not at all. Public safety really didn't matter, doesn't matter now, because we're talking about lethal weaponry, and I'm familiar with both types. I have fired more weapons than any of you can imagine. I know what these weapons can do. I've had friends, Army snipers. We talked about what their weapons could do, And to bring that into our environment where we live, you have no idea how that affects some people. Not everybody is familiar with warfare like I am. No, not everybody in the township has ever been in a kill zone. And there is nobody in this township who ever signed on for that. Nobody, not in the housing contract when they bought a property. Was there a statement that you are moving in to a kill zone? You are moving into a rifle range. You are moving in to a bow hunting area, I haven't talked to anybody that doesn't bother. Except it doesn't seem to bother you folks at all. And we know that it didn't bother Barbara Logan at all because it was discussed with her about what happens with her family living in this area. What happens if there's an errant bullet? She didn't seem to care. Didn't seem to care at all. So, what are we going to do? Mount Lebanon going to continue to be this problem area? You know, we are known as stupid people in this township. A lot of us in my group have friends in other townships, and they talk to these people, and these people want to know what's wrong with us. I mean, all the people in my group live in this township. They live in deer country. They know what a problem is. You folks don't seem to care. I mean, there's no problem. Got to kill deer. And yet all the evidence indicates that your concern is flower gardens and bushes. Well, that's wonderful. We don't have anything against flower gardens and bushes, but we know many people in our group are also gardeners. They know what fencing does. They know what repellents do. They know that nylon mesh works. But the people that you represent don't want to be bothered. You know, they expect to be living on a wide open prairie, and the commissioners will take care of things for them. We don't appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colonel. David Egler. I said thank you.
David Eckler, 121 Poplar Drive. Just want to extend my appreciation to the municipality on that storm. I think all the departments did a wonderful job. Even the weather forecasters were pretty accurate. I stopped what I was doing based on the forecast and the severity. Got home just in time to see a tree branch go flying by my front door, and for about 10 minutes that storm. To me, I look at it as a way of God waving his hand through Mount Lebanon with one big swoop with the wind, saying, you know, electricity is not really dependable. You really shouldn't, you know, go that route too much, because the only people who that lost power that survived had gas emergency generators. So that's my little dig in depending on electric, because I'll tell you what, I think that was a good example of what will happen when electric goes down. And if you have emergency vehicles you can't fire up, that could be a problem. But, you know, thanks to all the departments, DPW especially. Last Saturday was the Woodsy pickup day, and I wasn't planning on it, but Mother Nature had another thought, so I had a bit to add to it. I've got a little bit of time based on John Donnelly. He's done a lot for this town, and he mentioned his mom at one point, and I was around back in those days with her as a commissioner. And if I can share a story with you, before she ran, she was against Bird Park having a soccer field. She was one of the biggest fighters down there trying to stop the soccer field from being built. And at one point, she actually was down there and chained herself to a tree. And the sergeant who approached her in a lighthearted moment said, his words were, "Joan of Arc, I presume." And I think June took it well. It went well, and I know myself and a lot of the staff were concerned. Here's somebody coming on at one item, we thought at the time, one item that was her big thing. And by the time she got elected and got on the commission, the trees were all down already. Work was underway, so there was no stopping it at that point. And we thought, what's she gonna do now? Well, as it turned out, June was one of the best commissioners we ever had. I mean, she cared about the staff, she cared about Mount Lebanon, and she was excellent. I can't, say so much about her. It was surprising, and in municipal government, sometimes you get disappointed more often. She was a great surprise, and we mentioned that she was there with Colleen Wano and Carolyn Bime. That was when Bill Baldwin was hired, and there was a bit of controversy during that I don't care to share with everybody, but it was very interesting watching it, being part of it at the time. And I'm glad to see John Delano was recognized for all his work and very much appreciated. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Anybody else, public comment? None? All right. Item number 4, Commissioner Swagger-Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration of the minutes from the adjourned meeting held April 22nd, 2025. I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Commissioner Flynn, item number 5, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of Resolution R-3-25, authorizing reimbursement from the Series 2025 bonds for improvements to various municipal facilities. A resolution is required to allow the municipality to make payments from the Capital Projects Fund and then be reimbursed from the proceeds of a bond issue for items related to improvements to various municipal facilities, including the Swim Center, Racket Center, Public Safety Center, and municipal building. This will be necessary if the required payment is needed prior to the bond's closing. IRS regulations require a resolution be passed in order to have a reimbursement. Mr. President, I move to adopt Resolution R-3-25, authorizing reimbursement from the Series 2025 bonds for improvements to various municipal facilities.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Silverman, next item, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for adoption of the standard resolution R-4-25 for the 2025 PA Small Water and Sewer Grant for the Sleepy Hollow Sewer Reroute Program. An application for a Department of Community and Economic Development, DCED, PA Small Water and Sewer Projects, parentheses PA SWS, grant is being prepared for rerouting of the sanitary sewer away from residential structures near Sleepy Hollow Road, while also resolving the structural defects identified in the line. Municipality is requesting a grant in the amount of $439,764.23 to fund the project. The grant requires a minimum of 15% match, a $65,964.64 commitment from the municipality, and passage of a resolution. Mr. President, I move to adopt the concurring resolution number R-4-25 for the 2025 PA Small Water and Sewer Grant application for the Sleepy Hollow Sewer Reroute Project and submission of the grant application, including all required documentation.
A second?
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Swagger-Wilson, next item, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration of Resolution R-5-25 concerning sidewalks on Woodland Drive. In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 15, Part 2 of the Municipal Code, the Commission may order the construction of sidewalks on streets within the municipality. The Mount Lebanon Comprehensive Plan, Ascend Lebo, establishes goals to pursue strategies to maximize sidewalk availability and to pursue strategies to protect and promote safe routes to school. The resolution also authorizes the manager to accept cost-sharing agreements with property owners on Woodland Drive in accordance with the 2023 sidewalk expansion policy. Mr. President, I move to adopt Resolution R-5-25 to order the installation of sidewalks on Woodland Drive.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on this?
This has been a very long process, and I would like to thank Mr. McMeans for all of his work on this, as well as, of course, Gateway Engineers. I think public safety is one of our top priorities, and this should greatly improve going to and from school on Woodland Drive.
I would just want to add that I think we should thank the residents for their persistence.
Yes.
In continuing to push this.
Right, Anna Siefkin especially.
Exactly.
Any questions or comments other than those?
I'll be quiet now.
Good? No, you're good. You're good. Let's have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Flynn, next item,
Thank
please.
you, Mr. President. Consideration for the award of the Woodland Drive sidewalk installation. Bids were received on April 15th, 2025 for the Woodland Drive sidewalk installation project. The project proposes new concrete sidewalks, including clearing of the work area and installation of concrete rolled curbs, concrete check walls, and ADA curb ramps along Woodland Drive between Terrace Drive and MacArthur Drive. An additional alternate bid was included for the additional removal of trees as necessary based upon field conditions. The municipal engineer has verified the bids as presented on your screens, and the municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the resulting low bids to be accurate. The engineer recommends the Woodland Drive sidewalk installation contract be awarded to Escajeda Masonry, LLC, for the base bid and add alternate number 1. The low bid contractor has provided municipal references who indicate they completed similar projects in a satisfactory manner. The engineer's estimate for the project was $458,620. The project is to be funded through the 2025 Capital Projects Fund and resident contributions in accordance with the municipal sidewalk installation policy. Mr. President, I move to award the Woodland Drive sidewalk installation contract to Escajeda Masonry, LLC for the base bid and add alternate number 1 in the amount of $495,318.25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? This item kind of follows the last item related to the overall resolution, but any additional comments not already? All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much, Commissioner. Commissioner Siegler, next item, please, number 9.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the award of the Meadowcroft Park Phase 3 contract. Bids were received on April 29th, 2025 for the Meadowcroft Park Phase 3 project. This project consists of clearing and demolition of existing features, excavation, ENS controls, bituminous paving, concrete sidewalk, stair replacement, basketball hoop installation, line striping, fence removal, and replacement in landscaping. 3 add alternatives were bid, which include add alternative 1, additional tree removal and restoration, add alternate 2, concrete pad construction and shade structure installation, add alternate 3, sport court coating and line striping. A deduct alternate for fence restoration and refurbishment was also bid. 5 bids were received by the deadline, and the municipal engineer has verified the bids as follows, which the audience can see on their left. The municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bid to be accurate. The municipal staff and engineer recommended the project be awarded to Done Right Construction and Paving LLC, who have completed similar projects in a satisfactory manner based upon references provided. The total budgeted amount for this project was $409,500. The project is within the budget and is to be funded through the 2025 Capital Projects Fund. Mr. President, I move we award the contract for the Meadowcroft Park Phase 3 project for the base bid, $230,627.20. Add alternate number 1, $37,500. Add alternate number 2, $25,100. And add alternate number 3, $32,485 to Done Right Construction and Paving LLC in the amount of $325,712.20.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner Siegler. We are adjourned.